We'll be beginning with the context and the mandate of the Department of Children. Most of the time, people ask the work that we do and how it relates to social welfare, to community development. So today I'll begin with that. First of all, we have policy coordination. We monitor and evaluate. We look at stakeholder coordination and child participation. So for policy coordination, across all the sectors, we are looking at child protection. What can be done to bring child protection to the fore? All the ministries, if you are doing a policy or there's a bill being put forward with children, the issues of children at stake, we want to see that it is done well and done right. So we want to see child-focused issues embedded in national policies and national acts, bills, all of that. Also, we track implementation of child protection laws, policies at all levels of the country. And then for stakeholder engagement, we have a lot of people here. We have World Vision, social welfare. At the National Child Protection Committee, all of you come together. We have immigration, police, DOFSU, and they come together, talk about issues of children and how they can be solved. That is at the national level. At the regional level too, we have the regional child protection committees and the district ones. Now we are bringing some guidelines on how the community child protection committees can operate. And we've reached out to a lot of our partners. We hope that we hear from you so that the guidelines will be established. Also, we have child participation. I've seen some children from the National Children's Parliament here wave. Yes, we have children participating in that every year. We have Plan, World Vision, SOS, Children Believe, all the partners bringing us children from all over the country. And when they come, they talk about issues affecting them. And they give us also ways in which they think we can help them resolve it. We have GACA, Ghanaians Against Child Abuse, and all that. Before we look at the state of child protection, maybe not all of us know what child protection is and what it encompasses. So I'll just do a bit of that. Child protection Can I get the clicker? Can I get the clicker? Yeah.
No, that's not it. You show me this right now.
Oh, so move to the next two. The next one. Okay. What constitutes an effective child protection system? As we can see, we have the diagram there. We have the laws and policies, societal behavioral change, child and family welfare justice services. And these come together and work hand in hand to constitute an effective child protection system. Under these, we have the social protection, the health system, and the education system feeding into it. And what are these, if we may ask? So under the laws and policies, also known as the legal framework, we have a lot has been said about it today. We have the Children's Act, criminal offenses, child and welfare, justice for children, affirmative action. This year we've launched the ECCD policy, affirmative action, and we have the Inter-Sectorial Standard Operating Procedure, the ASOP. We have the Cyber Security Act. All these acts work together for the laws and policies, and is the legal backing for whatever we do for children in Ghana. And as has been said, the laws are endless. We have so many of them. We don't lack them. It is how to work with them and how to implement them. That's where we have the issues. Next slide. We can still see more laws. At the societal behavioral change, we have the GACA campaign. How many of us have heard of GACA? How many? Then I'm not doing my job well. Let's say 30%. So GACA is a societal campaign on child abuse, and it says Ghanaians against child abuse. Are we all Ghanaians against child abuse? Yes, then it means we are GACA. So that is what GACA is about. And it has 11 pillars, talks about bullying, sorry, I lost my. So through the media, through schools, we go to the malls, at the district level, all that, we talk about GACA. And we want people to be aware of abuses that happen to children and how we can get rid of them. We also have the NAT'L campaign. We always leave the 0 to 8 years out, but that is where a lot of the work should be done. So the NAT'L campaign looks at the feeding, the parenting, just guiding parents from the 0 to 8 years on how to take care of their children so that their formative years are done well. And if it's done well, continuing it is easier. We also have the child participation platform, school clubs, and all that. Then the final part of the wheel is the child and family welfare and the justice systems. We have the social welfare services, case management, victim support through the Department of Social Welfare and Community Development. We also have the justice services, DOFSU, child-friendly courts, legal aid, and all that. And do we know that we've set up one-stop centers where when children come, they are taken care of well. So it is not in the past where if something happens to a child, they are in the space with adults and other people listening, but it's a confined space where children can be themselves, play, and then they can tell what happened to them so that they are not re-traumatized. We're also looking at alternative care and deinstitutionalization. So we know that children grow best with their families. In the Child and Family and Justice Welfare, we have the ISS, Integrated Social Services. So we are looking at the poverty and vulnerability of children, and we want to reduce that through access to integrated social services. We are saying integrated because in the past, everyone was working in silos. Health is working, education is working, this part is working. But we want to bring all of them together and give a service to the people so that they benefit from it at once. And it was launched in 2019. We have 300 districts socialized, and it continues on. We also have child participation gains. We have child-friendly, gender-based courts which are operational, and the Helpline of Hope. Do we know the Helpline of Hope? Anyone to help me? Do we know the Helpline of Hope? I heard a yes here. What's the Helpline of Hope?
0800 800 800 and 0800 900 900.
Let's clap for him. Yeah, so the Helpline of Hope is where you can make all your, if there's anything child protection you want to make a report on, Helpline of Hope is there. There's another one for internet related. This one, do we know it? For the Cyber Security Authority. Anyone? Cyber related. Cyber related. 2? Or you've changed one number. 292, thank you very much. So anything cyber related, 292, and the helpline of hope is 0800 800 800. We also have a digital forensic lab at the Criminal Investigations Department, and is to investigate child online sexual exploitation, trafficking, abuse, and all that. Did we know that we had that in Ghana? No, I don't think so. We also have the National Parenting Strategy. It's a document on how to help parents nurture their children, strengthen the family. And we have SWIMS too working, the Social Welfare Information Management System, reporting social welfare services nationwide, and it's in real time. I'll move on to slide 16, the key implementation bottlenecks. Let's move on. Yes. Our first bottleneck is the social welfare workforce gaps. And it's already been said, we have understaffing at the district level. Social workers will tell you they are overburdened and overworked. Auntie Joyce is she's here, she'll come and talk about it. I won't spend too much time. And also, we have high staff turnover. We have staff that we've trained moving on to the private sector. So we beg you, well-vision plan and the rest. Let some of our staff stay, because when they go, they move with the institutional knowledge and relationships they've built and all that. Yes. We also don't have complete decentralization of departments of children at the district level. Our second bottleneck is inadequate funding and logistics. At the MMDA level, we don't have a dedicated child protection budget line, and it's really a big deficit. We also have transport. It's been said, transport, office equipment, and for our child protection toolkit, when something goes wrong, the social welfare and community officers have to replace the staff themselves. We also have the training and follow-up and coverage gaps. And we've had, at the ISS, going for the training, people have complained that the time for the training is too short and the follow-ups have not been enough. But it's being worked on. We'll hear what is being done, and hopefully by the end of the year, we have some institutionalized training for social workers at the School of Social Work. So it's not all bad, but we know that there will be an improvement. For our way forward, we are hoping that the social workforce is increased, secure domestic funding. Most of the funding comes from partners, comes from outside. There's not much funding from the government of Ghana. We must speak the truth. So we are hoping for dedicated domestic funding. We also want to see a strengthened data system and monitoring. We are hoping that there's a midline report is produced. We want to see that at every region, they have the working group working. And finally, we want to see coaching being extended to the regional and the district level. We want to say that every child in Ghana deserves protection, not some children, not children in some districts, every child. And we hope that the work we'll do here this week will speak to that. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. I have some data sheets I didn't go through, but he'll project it so that you look at it. Go to slide. Slide 4. Yeah. No, 4. So you have to go this one. Yes, so while we wait for the next person, we can look at the data sheet. Thank you.
Please, let's put our hands together for her one more time. Okay, maybe you want to just take a screenshot of it. Oh, it's already gone. Just a moment so that we can look at it. We're going to have our next session, and that's on CSO's perspective on state of child protection in Ghana. So we've heard from the state, but what is our perspective on child protection in Ghana? We are happy to have Mr. Eric Ayaba. He's the head of programs and influencing at Plan International Ghana, and he has years of experience in the development space, specializing in child protection programs that safeguard vulnerable children and empower communities. Please put your hands together for Mr. Ayaba. Thank you so much, sir, for coming.
So the presentation will be good for yes, do you have this picture? Yes, we have sent it. I'm here to present to you the CSO perspective of the state of the child. And so I was hoping to hear what the government side will bring clearly. And then when we also present our alternative state of the child, then we can look at a comparative situation of the child. But of course, I'm sure we will get to know that. I did a scan across the whole room, and I'm sure if most of you did the same thing, you could see a bit of the state of the Ghanaian child in Ghana. But the question that you may ask is, in Ghana where? And the reason why this particular question comes in is that if you do the state of the Ghanaian child in Accra, targeting children around Spintex, East Legon, across all those affluent urbanized areas in Ghana, then you go do a state of the Ghanaian child situation in my village in the northeast region in Bunkrugu Yoyo. You will be able to determine the state of the Ghanaian child based on the location, the geographical location of that particular child. And so you will see a presentation that may look completely different, entirely different from what the state may have provided or you may have known to exist in Ghana here, because we are looking at a state which is differentiated as a result of a gender, geographical location, disability, and so on and so forth. These are the key areas, the critical areas that really determine who or how a particular child is described in Ghana here. And that is why I cited an example of a child in Accra, in Spintex, in East Legon, against a child in the northeast region, in the Bunkrugu Yoyo district or community. So, taken quite a long time. I will do a quick summary of Plan International. Not many of us may have heard so much about Plan. This complicated slide you see previously is a summary of Plan International Ghana. Please don't get worried about it. I'm not going to go through. It's so saturated, but it's a one slide. So if you are able to get hand to that and you go through, you scan through, you understand who Plan International is, what Plan International does, what is our overarching objective or goal across the world, how we work, who we work with, and then the key priorities that champion our work. So that is for that slide that's passed. So in all, this is all the summary of whatever we are going to talk about today. We have already heard the issue relating to our legal framework, quite robust, a lot of it well documented, acknowledged by almost all countries across the world. However, inequalities driven by gender inequality, poverty, geography, disability, harmful social norms continue to expose many children, particularly girls, to violence, exclusion, lost opportunities, and then economic shocks and climate pressures further erode household resilience. From the CSO perspective, and specifically from Plan International perspective, this is our conclusion of the state of the Ghanaian child. And I'm sure most of you here will align to this. So the underlying gaps underscore the urgent need for targeted, coordinated investment to ensure that the national commitments translate into real and equitable outcomes for every child. We heard that clearly this morning, and the need for us to work together, the need for us to cooperate instead of competing, the need for us to bring resources together instead of struggle for the limited funding in the system is very much important. And the need for the system to be strengthened from the government or the state point of view. This is the conclusion of the CSO's State of the Children. How did we arrive at this conclusion? So, using Plan International as the point of reference, I mentioned that within the, if you scan through here, this room, you see a glimpse of the state of the children. Take a look at this. Enough. End child hunger and malnutrition. This is coming from World Vision. What does it tell us? It tells us that there are some children in Ghana here, and the critical thing about hunger and malnutrition is important for us to discuss. How did World Vision get to this level? World Vision may have done a lot of assessment. I mean, baseline studies to be able to arrive at what is very critical to address. And they are addressing this particular issue. So using that baseline, using that assessment, you can easily tell the state of the Ghanaian child in relation to child hunger and malnutrition. You take the issue about child trafficking and child labor, it's the same thing. The assessment that was done to be able to arrive at addressing this particular challenge is a clear demonstration of the state of the Ghanaian child related to child labor and child trafficking. And so, coming back to Plan International, we have also done some assessment. And that assessment, two of them, one is more of an assessment of a project yet to start, and that project was Protect, as we call it in short. The other assessment is what we call GESI, Gender Equality and Inclusion Assessment. All these assessments point to a particular direction showing or defining the state of the Ghanaian child. And remember, not the state of the Ghanaian child in the affluent, more urbanized areas, but in the state of the Ghanaian child relative to geography. And here, our focus was in more poorer regions, the Upper West region, the Northeast region, and then in the OT region, as well as in the Volta region. And so, what you are going to be hearing represent this region, but by and large, in communities that are far away from the urban areas that show extreme level of poverty, and among all the other indicators I mentioned earlier, will exhibit this type of situation, reference to the Ghanaian child. Please, let's move on. So this is just a methodology of how we went through it, so we can move on from here. If you want the details of the assessment, we can provide this. Now, this is where the interest is. So based on all those assessments, we observed that participation and the voice of children is still something that is very, very lacking in our Ghanaian children. I can quote the lady who actually spoke, the young girl who spoke for the children here. They are not just a project to be mentioned. They are not just data to be counted. And they are just not beneficiaries at the end of the day. This number of children benefited. They want to be active participants. They want to be involved. They want to be quoted as having contributed to the issues that affect them. They want to be quoted to be involved in contributing to national issues that will eventually benefit them. That is active participation. In most occasions, we see participation in a very tokenistic way. Excuse me for saying that, but of course, it is. We are looking at a Ghanaian child that is presented in a manner to show that that child has contributed one way or the other. But looking at it from the bottom and the active participation point of view, we will all come to realize that it's just tokenism. We need to do better work, or we need to work on this particular issue. Gender stereotypes still cut across. Oh, she's a girl. And consider a girl who unfortunately has some form of disability and living in my community in Bunkrugu Yoyo and have no any better quality education to attend. How will you describe the state of that girl? I hope I'm just drawing some picture in our mind for us to visualize how some of the children really are defined. And we are all in Ghana, and they are all part of the Ghanaian children. Caregivers are particularly dangerous when it comes to addressing the issue of stereotyping. You know, stereotype will limit one's ability to have the openness to do things that is that he feels or she feels can improve on his or her well-being. The moment you are stereotyped, it's like you have been put in a kind of a cage, and you remain there forever. And if you are a caregiver and you still have that mentality of stereotyping, especially related to girls, and you are taking care of girls, how would you really help that girl come out of that shelf of stereotyping? Unfortunately, the assessment indicates that a lot of stereotype or caregivers still have the mentality of stereotyping. If 46, and that means about 60 or 54% of caregivers have some form of not having any problem at all. I mean, they will not discourage anything related to stereotype. Gender norms, we also feel like girls face restricted mobility, exclusion from decision making. And so we still see, even though there have been some improvements, but the state of the girl child in the hard to reach communities or far deprived communities still is that of exclusion. The fear to come out, the fear to even get closer when adults or men or boys are gathered. The fear that they don't belong to the space for which men and boys are gathered. And you can see, well, there's no percentage here, but you look at it from the qualitative point of view. The household chores are still heavy on girls as compared to boys. That is the state of the girl in the rural community, in the hard-to-reach communities. So issues about gender norms, sexual reproductive health support and access, as well as social gender-based violence knowledge are still things that the girl child lacks, or children in particular in the communities have very little knowledge in terms of some of these areas, in terms of their access, in terms of SRHR support, and in terms of knowledge on social and gender-based violence issues. And so we have a lot of work to do here to bring the Ghanaian child up to the standard that we are all working towards. Let's move, please. So issues about verbal or physical and sexual abuse widespread in home and schools, and people don't see anything wrong about it. Unfortunately, people don't still see anything wrong about it. There was an argument in our office about corporal punishment. Unfortunately, people still don't see any problem at all. Rather, people see that we are encouraging indiscipline in the schools. And get to the rural communities. In the urban areas, when you do that, a parent may walk to the school, or if you are not lucky, a parent may even report you. In the rural communities, mothers can carry their children back to the school and request the teacher to give the student or the child some lashes, because that child is not hearing or is indisciplined. These are the realities of the Ghanaian child in the rural communities. School safety is still a problem in our communities. You see, there are schools under trees, unfortunately, even though I'm sure in Ghana situation we may have eliminated most of them. But when you go to where we are talking about, where we are taking this data from, you still see the issue about school safety, the school environment not too safe, very abusive, corporal punishment is there, teacher shortages, unsafe distances where children will have to cross rivers. Yesterday I saw a film, some TikTok film, when a boy was carrying a brother at the back and crossing a river. And that river, it's a tree that has been put to cross the river from one end to the other. And the child was carrying the brother, the younger brother, and just crawling on that tree to the next village to school. These are all unsafe, distance to schools. Some children get to school without food. That is the state of the Ghanaian child in some of the areas in Ghana here that we are talking about. Positive parenting. This has a very good positive, assessment. It means we are really making headway. When we have positive parenting, or parents have some positive mentality towards their children, that is a good thing to do. What it means is that eventually when that positivity is transferred to taking care of children, then of course we may improve the situation better. Menstrual health, another difficult area for young people or adolescent girls. I know, and we all are aware, Ghana government has taken this as a major area. But come to think of it, there are a lot of people in Ghana here reading through some comments that if government can commit 230-something million cedis to menstrual cycle or menstrual health management, and it means that government has lost its priorities. So that is the mentality of some Ghanaians. Ghanaians in Ghana. Some don't even think that addressing the issue of mental health is a right for the girl child to really get. And so, whilst we work towards addressing this, we still have to continue to sensitize Ghanaians that the issue about menstruation is a right. And it is not a misplaced priority for government to commit some resources to addressing menstrual health related issue. Early marriage, pregnancy, teenage pregnancy related early marriages, forced marriages. This is a major issue across the communities that we work. Unfortunately, sometimes it is teenage pregnancy and then the girl is forced, or the two children or the two adolescents are forced to get married. Or it is an adult against a small, very teenager, and then the teenager is forced to marry the adult. It is real. It is vivid. How are we doing about these children in the rural communities? We need to look at that and then bring them out of such situation. Child labor, I'm sure looking at the room is something that is very, very critical. Sometimes we are a bit cautious not to overly, describe the issue of child labor because of how the implication it has for this country. But unfortunately, the hazardous work that a lot of children go through, unfortunately, in some cocoa growing areas, in some fishing areas, in some stone winning or sand winning areas, in Galamsey areas, is quite, touching to see, especially in Galamsey areas now. And so we have a lot of work to really address a situation of this nature to our children in those areas. Disability exclusion is also a major aspect that we have observed. So these are the key areas that our study really brought out to demonstrate and define the state of the Ghanaian child in hard-to-reach communities, in rural communities, in communities that are very poor or showing signs of poverty, and then other related indicators. Please, let's move on. So, these are just the summaries. Gender stereotype is still a critical gap. We have to work around that. Emotional abuse is a critical gap. We have to look at that. Support in sexual reproductive health. Unfortunately, sometimes there is a quick assumption to issues of sexual reproductive health as if it is just to promote family planning, and people begin to fight against it. That is not the issue. Knowledge is very important here. Do girls actually understand the relationship between menstruation and getting pregnant, and what to do in order to prevent it and do not fall into such situation? If it's no, sexual reproductive health related issues is very important, very critical. If you want to address the issue of teenage pregnancy, we must not shy away from this particular issue. And it's the right of the girl to have that. Consultation in decision making is a critical gap. And then the policy to practice, we have talked about it, so far as the systems are concerned, is also critical gap. So for the positives, the positive parenting is good. Knowledge on SGBV risk is also very good. And then children also thought they feel a bit safe in school. But of course, that gap there can get almost about, say, 11% of children out of school. And that would be very dangerous for us. Let's move on, please. So these are just some statements per the assessment that some of our children brought out. I think it's done. Let's move on. Sure. So what are the implications of this? So for the harmful norms, the socio-cultural or socio-cultural norms, We have to engage fathers. We have to engage traditional leaders, men as allies, and stop the victim blaming. If we have to move forward, these are some of the actions that we propose. I believe strongly there are quite a lot of such actions that all of us will have to come together in a coordinated manner to be able to address the issues of negative social norms. Then strengthen protection system. This has been done very strongly, and I was happy hearing the previous presenter mention the SOPs or the procedures for community child protection teams to work. I guess that will be a very important aspect of all of us, our work. So we can bring uniformity to it. We can be able to assess the gaps in there and be able to provide some capacities to be able to strengthen them. Because the child protection committees at the community level is a very critical institution at that level to support, address child protection issues. Make schools inclusive, deliver a stigma-free sexual reproductive health. I think I've mentioned this. A lot of girls will not really seek any attention, will not seek any support, because the moment they see you move towards a particular direction, which is tagged a family planning point, then the stigma begins to grow from there. So these are some of the strategic, areas that we have to put, and then develop action plans, come together, work with the state institutions, and then move forward to be able to bring the children at the level for which we are looking at least at par with all other children in Ghana here. So, ladies and gentlemen, unless there is another slide, but I feel this is what I have to present to show. These are just something that's so that is it.
Thank you very much, sir. There's no more slide, but we have a session to invite questions and then take some answers as well for both presentations. I know you had questions for the first presenter, so you may want to shoot if you're ready. Yes, so I'll start with you, but the floor is open now for questions.
Thank you very much. I wanted to find out the swims. I think the lady mentioned swims. I want to know whether, what my understanding from all our discussion, not all the regions, not all the districts actually are linked to the swims at the moment. Where are we now, and what are we doing to be able to link all the systems together? Related to that, there are other systems that are really being worked on or used by private sector. For example, the cocoa sector, those organizations that work in the cocoa sector also look at the child labor in cocoa growing community, the CLMRS also, and other system. So if the private sector has a system working and then the government has a system working, is there any work to, integrate this system so that at one click of the button, we are able to know the progress we are making, we are able to know where the gaps are, and we are able to address the gaps holistically? So these are my two questions that if I can be helped. And then she also mentioned something on maybe I'll get back to that.
Sure. You asked two powerful questions, so we'll give her the opportunity to respond. If you can come forward, please, because of the cameras. And then we'll take another two. Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think I failed to mention, for the swims, it's being done together with the ISS. So we start with the swims, and then after some time, the ISS follows. So for now, swims is in session. The final 61 districts are being trained right now. So by I'm hoping by July, I think by July they should be done and the whole of the country is covered. Yes, all the districts. Yes. So for your second question, it's something we've also thought about, but we also don't want duplication of efforts. That's how come even the SWIMS and the ISS came in. We want to have one streamlined system where everything is reported. So at the community and the district level, we are hoping that the social welfare and community officers are in touch with our other partners working there, so that if there's something to be reported, it comes on the SWIMS. So that when you enter there, every information is available there. We don't want to have a duplication of the work that is going on. So it will be best if they report to the social welfare and community development, so that is inputted on the SWIMS. And with the SWIMS too, for now, it's as the case is being worked on, you can see the progress and all that. So it's not like in the past where it's on a paper somewhere, it's online. So as it's being worked on, there's real-time information. So it will be best if they integrate their system onto the SWIMS. Yes.
All right, thank you, Eugenia. Please don't go. I see some questions, some hands there. Let's be sure. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about a helpline of hope, right? I want to know at what level it is being managed at. Is it national? Is it regional? Is it district? And secondly, what's the turnaround time for responding to incidents that are reported through that particular line? And are there any cases, practical cases that have come to light that were reported through the line, so that we can assess its efficiency and accessibility for those in our communities? Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Please mention your name and where you're coming from when
My
you
name
ask
is
the question.
Linda, and I'm from SOS Children's Villages, Ghana.
Thank you. All right. I saw a hand there. Oh, that's it? Okay, so we'll take this one. Let me come close.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Andane Yakubu, budget analyst from Sene West District Assembly. I want to find out from the presentations I've heard so far, it indicates that we already have enough laws to protect the Ghanaian child. But what oftentimes will be the biggest challenge is enforcing these laws. And I've also heard from your presentation that we have another law in the cooking. But I want to also find out whether if this law, it's making provisions for funding mechanisms in implementing child protection programs or activities. Because that has always been the biggest issue. And I'm also happy you admitted that government hasn't been doing so well when it comes to funding child welfare issues. And I thought that we should rather be looking at legislating a certain funding mechanism to address this gap. That will make it more deliberate. But otherwise, if we leave it to compete in the pool, it may not attract that needed attention. So I want to find out what we are doing in the area of enforcement and whether if there are funding mechanisms in there.
Okay, so we have these two questions. I think I'll take this one. Junior, let's take just this one and then we can answer all three.
All right, so my name is David Eshen. I work with Participatory Development Associates. Mine is not a question, one is a request. If it is possible for all the presentations to be shared after the workshop. So if it is possible, that would be very great. Then the second one is to address the issue about integration of the child labor remediation systems with the SWIMS. So we work on child labor remediation for some of the cocoa companies. And one particular example I know is that information from the child labor remediation systems is fed into the SWIMS. So on a particular project we are working on, we get the outcomes from the CLMRS, And we've trained about 68 district social welfare officers on how to use the swims, and they have entered all the information into the swims. So some of the farm observation surveys that are done on the cocoa farms and other things are all fed into the swims. So I think there is some element of collaboration between the two systems, and they are not working in silos. Thank you.
So there's some data already in there. Yes, Eugenia, so you can go ahead and
Thank
answer.
you. My directors are here, so they'll help me with the answer.
That's fine. That's fine.
Well, thank you very much. I overheard.
Can you mention your name?
My name is Reverend Israel Aklobotu, Regional Director for Department of Children Voter.
Yes, sir.
I overheard Mr. Eric trying to find out if there can be a merger from the private sector and the government sector in terms of the best practices. Yeah, we have the system. That's why the structure of the Child and Family Welfare Policy proposed that we have stakeholders from both the private sector, the NGO sector, to discuss all those things. So the Department of Children Head Office holds that. So those discussion goes on over there so that we can leverage on the best practices as we come together to protect the right and welfare of the child. With the issue of a new law being in offering, yes, it is because the Child and Family Welfare Policy, one of the objectives has to do with reforms of our old laws and the new, the old policies. So that is what exactly we are doing. We are just reviewing the entire Children's Act. We have done a whole lot of consultation, and I believe very soon it will get to Parliament for approval. Whether we will have a budget line for implementing, yes, it's a bigger discussion we all need to do. And I know when it is passed, we will definitely have operational plans where all those things need to be taken into consideration. So yes, plans are underway to ensure that whatever new laws we are coming out with will not be a law just lie on the shelf like we used to experience. So for now, I can assure us that as we are all here, those are the discussions that we need to be doing, so that at the end of the day, whatever policy, whatever laws that we put in place collectively, both from the private sector, civil society sector, government sector, we implement it for our children to be protected to the fullest. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Regional Director. So I'll take
Thank you,
Director here from the Ministry of Local Government, and then I'll take one also from there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I just want to add to what she just said concerning the Eugenia.
Yes. On the helpline.
Yes. The helpline has a whole setup at the ministry. So if children or caregivers have a case, they call. So they receive the case. I believe Auntie Yvonne can speak to that. So they refer the cases, assuming the case comes from voter region. In a community, there are people in charge over there. So quickly, they will redirect that case to social welfare for a follow-up. Those are the things that the helpline do in terms of...
There's a turnaround time. What's the longest time anybody can wait for a response?
And Yvonne. Yes.
There is a desk for that. And yes, there is a desk for that at the ministry. And they, when they listen to the complaint, then they know the respective institution to address the problem. Most of it comes to social welfare. A lot of these cases that you see on social media, most of them came through the call line. But I don't have the data for the turnaround, but that office has it because it's part of their system to take in numbers of people who have reported the type of protection concern and how it was addressed. I can speak for the department. One was the recent child marriage issue, and immediately the department acted on it. So it's case by case responses, but the moment the call comes through, definitely someone is attentioned, an institution is attentioned to handle it. But for the data, it's easy. You can pick our number and we'll liaise with the office to get the turnaround figure for you.
So we'll take, you have a question? So we'll take, Director will speak first and then.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to add to what Eugenia just said concerning onboarding the rest of the districts. Yes, onto the streams. We are already done with about 210. We are left with the rest. It goes like this. There's the integrated social service delivery, where we have integrated service being assessed at the district level. Now, at the moment, we have our teams on the field training them on the streams, which will end maybe ending up by the middle of ending of May. They should be done. Then we'll start with the CP toolkits. They'll train them on the streams and the CP toolkits as well, and they will be brought on board. Okay. So I just want to add.
Thank you very much. I'll take only 2 questions and then we'll move into the next. Forgive me, I'll take only 2. There's a child here who wants to ask a question. And then Mr. Derry, I'll give you the opportunity. Please keep your questions. We'll come back to it. So we'll have our next presentation and then we'll open the floor now to have a conversation on all 3. So please, who wants to ask the question? Okay.
Please, my name is Regina Frimpoma Amalari. My question is, please, how can children's voices be included during parliamentary meetings concerning them?
Regina has asked a very brilliant question. And we also know that there's a new law coming. Please, have you consulted Honorable Regina to include her views? It's very important. Please. Yeah.
Do I need to introduce myself again? Okay, she says I shouldn't ask a difficult question. But I want to link my question to what Eric said. In fact, he made it very practical. If you want the state of the Ghanaian child, please go to their location. You said we are maturing. Does it mean that afterwards we'll have no issues? Is that what you mean? That there will not be child labor? There will not be child marriage? There will not be teenage pregnancy? Children will not be hungry? That when you go to Karachi, you will not find the island communities? That all the children there will be in school? Their learning will improve? The last time I listened to UNICEF do that presentation, in fact, I am a very conservative person. I did not agree with them. Because that is on paper. We are merely just ticking. Yes, we have this policy, then you tick. You have this, you tick. But you go to the ground. Is that what is in the ground? Please, that is my question. Very simple one.
Thank you, Mr. Gray.
Mr. Moderator, I believe that our child question is to Department of Children.
Yes, yes.
Well, it's a very good question. That is one thing I wanted to even ask Mr. Eric based on his presentation, because he alluded to the facts regarding child participation, the state of child participation. Yeah, it is true that our children's voices need to be inputted into the parliamentary debate. And Ghana as a country, every year when we are celebrating the World Children's Day, World Vision, Plan Ghana, Action Aid, they help the ministry to pull children from the various project areas to debate. So we want to assure them that we will scale it up. And the proposal I wanted to make to Mr. Eric, Mr. Greg, our sister Shivera, is that beyond the World Children Day, where we bring the National Children Parliament together, every region, they should help us so that at least we can get 5 from each region that we can bring together, because children issues are different from various regions, so that they will debate and make a recommendation to the parliament that, oh, this is what we feel we should do for us. As the child said, they are not just statistics, they are not projects. Their voices need to be heard. So yes, we are facilitating that, and we'll take it at a bigger level where you do deliberation on issues that you feel the nation as Ghana should address for you at that level. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And I also want to add that at the National Children's Parliament, whatever decisions they come to is always presented to Parliament.
Okay.
The minister always presents it. And finally, on the helpline of hope, she asked for a story, and we've had people who have been trafficked, even in Saudi Arabia. They've called the helpline of hope, and they've been brought back to Ghana.
Mr. Derry's question.
It's a process for the system maturity. That's why it's a system. So even if we get to the 61, we are in system maturity, but we are not all the way there. So we are working towards it. It doesn't mean that these things won't happen, child protection issues won't crop up, but we want to get there. And as we keep marking ourselves each year, we see an improvement. And with your help and the others around, we hope that this year, by the end of the year, we see that improvement. We see an improvement in violence against children dropping and others. So it's not that we want to pat ourselves on the back too early, but we also want to see the marked improvements during the year. By the end of the year, we know that we've achieved this, we've achieved that. Right.
Eugenia, thank you, but I think we'll have to come back to this. And so we'll move into our next presentation, and when we are done, we'll have a small session to address some of these issues. So kindly pen your questions down, and then we'll come back to it. So we'll move into the next session, lessons from capacity building strategy for strengthening the social welfare services workforce. We're going to look at from 2020 to 2024. Please let's welcome Madame Yvonne Norman. She's Principal, School of Social Work, and she's going to help us with a presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A lot of what I have to say, we have contributed to it already, and it's already brief. And it is also not to pat ourselves at the back. Yes, but lessons learned, some achievement, but room for improvement generally. So before my slides come on, just a background to the need for this strategy, which is the social services workforce. With the Department of Social Welfare initially, there was the School of Social Work. And the School of Social Work trained officers to be absorbed by the department. Things have changed, notably decentralization. In addition, the services, local government service and civil service are now recruiters. And so that power that the department had to recruit pure social workers doesn't come to play anymore. And as time went on, there was then the need, especially at the local government level, to ensure that officers recruited to be district social welfare and community development officers had, basic skills to deliver services to clients. And that was the need for the strategy. We learned that capacity building without system reform fails. So just training alone doesn't help. I remember from 2015 to when we have been going round training on residential homes, training on justice administration. But after the training, then what? And so there were gaps, exactly. There was the need to shift from isolated training to embedding skills into systems, because the more we work in silos, the less we are able to achieve. This brought about the rollout of the integrated social services approach, which Madam Frida highlighted, that it is basically the coming together of all frontline workers when it comes to social service delivery to be able to help clients. The development and use of standard operating procedures for case management, initial alignment of training with operational workflows and not just theory. So we know we do case work, but it was discoordinated. What Ashanti region is doing is different, what Northern region is doing is different. There was the need to streamline it, not just to streamline it, but in a way that there are linkages. The services must come to the child. The child shouldn't go around looking for the services. The client shouldn't go around looking for the services. So in practical ways, how are we coordinating? One very good example is what my brother talked about labor and social welfare. And so now there are officers from labor who identify the cases and link these cases to social welfare and community development officers at the district. Next slide. Workforce gaps, as we earlier stated. There's the issue of structure, role clarity, not just staff shortages. It got to a time, district social welfare and community development officers were used as tax collectors. They are there. The workforce is there. But what are they being used for? What is their capacity? And this is what was realized. So there was the need for the development of clear roles categorization. Another example is that of the relationship between social welfare and community development and the labor office. That distinction of what role the labor officers play and how to hand over. And generally, social welfare and community development, their role is linking clients to services, not per se providing those services. Gone are the days where officers were giving interest to help clients when they came 20 years ago. But now, each institution is being supported by government and civil society and donor organization, and so we rather want to use our institutions to help the client. There's the progress towards harmonized job descriptions across some MMDAs. This will be a thing of the past because this is progress. As Madam Frida said, by the end of this year, we are scaling up all the trainings. It started as a pilot, most of them. ISS started as a pilot, SWIM started as a pilot program, and that's how come it looks like some districts are operating while others are not. But lessons shows that this is really bridging the gap when it comes to workforce flow. And so the agreement to operationalize it nationally is what we hope to achieve by the end of 2026. And then we'll have an increased recognition of community level workforce. Formally, you know, the community members, these are led by CSOs, faith-based organizations, traditionalists. Now you see them working with the formal sector. Usually they just cover up the issue. It's still happening though, but you see more and more cases where they come out to want to support. There are aspects, even if they don't want it to go through the formal system, They are willing to listen to what has to be done, what is lawful, what has to be escalated. And so we are seeing progress in that aspect as well. Next slide. Decentralization challenges. There were uneven district performances. Being at the school, I also realized something. One thing that also alludes to this point is the MCs and the DCs. Please, I want us to give a round of applause to all those, the MCs and DCs that are here with us today. When I talk to the students who are actually officers, those who have little complaints are those who have the support of the MCs and the DCs. Once social welfare and community development comes to the office, do it for them. They understand. So we want to use that platform to talk to your other brothers and sisters. Social welfare is there to work for you. You are the one who will get the numbers at the end of the day. When you support the district officer, am I lying? When you support them to do the work for you, you sit on it and get your numbers at the end of the day. We will provide it with you. So we are pleading that you support the district social welfare and community development offices at the districts. We are now very much involved in district capacity building. That is at the national level, not as it used to be, where we go down, but with the coaching. The coaching is basically technical teams made up of frontline social services delivery institutions coming together, going through what has been done at the district, going down to say, what are your challenges? Did you understand case management? Did you understand swims? We are moving from there. Why is it that you can't answer the swims? You can't enter data on swims. So that is what we do with the coaching. And that is also yielding positive numbers. So National does that, the technical backstopping at the district. Next slide. Coordination, there was weak interagency collaboration. Again, as always, there's room for progress. I remember there was a technical working team just last year, and an institution was upset that they have to sponsor something that had to do with child protection. I don't want to give details. And monies were being given to the district social welfare and community development office. So why? They were on this matter until someone said, let me tell you how much they are giving social welfare. And when she heard it, she said, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, we can move. And that is the issue. You see, this perception that they have some money is nothing to write home about. So it is still giving other institutions, but this is your work. Why do I have to come inside? But this is your work. So we are trying to use the ISSOP to make sure that everybody is responsible. That is the intersectorial standard operating procedure for case management, to ensure that the police knows their role to play, the NGO knows their role to play. You know, residential homes for children, NGOs have their role to play. So depending on the case, it is clear who does what, so that it's not a matter of you are giving me someone's work. It has been documented. So we have multi-sectorial collaboration, and we have joint case management. A lot of the successes comes when we work together. Take, for example, issues of pregnancies at the schools. When education and social work together, you see that the students are being helped more. But when there is that secrecy, oh, social services subcommittee at district level, oh, we don't have anything to talk about. Meanwhile, there are issues to be discussed, and that is happening more because you are asked to defend whatever issues happen at the social services subcommittee. Please, next. Financing. We can't talk about issues without talking about financing. And my sister from DOC has talked about how much comes from, government. So we are all here to advocate that there should be much more geared towards social protection in general. When you look at the budgeting of what we are putting in as a country into social protection, then we end up falling on donor partners, CSOs, and other partners. So we are advocating for better support logistics. It's happening because we are getting data. If Madam Florence from PPMED at the ministry was here, she would tell you, you give me the data, I can defend it. So it goes hand in hand. When SWIMS is working properly, entries are being done, it won't solve all problems. But when she goes for those meetings at finance, she can categorically say, this is what goes into this is what averagely the department needs at what level. And so we are using this to talk about the importance of data from district to region to national. There have been some improvements in logistics and operational funding at the district, but this has been more from CSOs and donor partners. Next. Professionalization of social work. It will also help a lot of issues. Right now, a lot of us are calling ourselves social workers, but we are not social workers. The social work profession has its associations. We have GASO, we have SWAG, but there is a need to professionalize it. And right now, it was completed, but when you are not able to pass the law after a government tenure, it elapses, and we have to start the system all over again. So I don't think there will be a lot of work because it was done. The draft was done, everything was done. It will really help solve a lot of problems. However, in the meantime, strengthening of institutions through the training that we, proudly me, have at the School of Social Work is also helping. I didn't know I would see a student, Mr. Dochi, please, you are done with your courses, it's left with your exams. 1 minute, how is the training?
Thank you, Madam. For the past 5 weeks, it's been very learning field. At least, as you said, we don't have the background, the social welfare background, but with this training within this, we've been introduced to courses like child and family welfare. And when I relate that to what I was doing previously in the department, I realized that sometimes when cases come, especially with maintenance, we are so much interested in getting probably the man to maintain the child, other than finding out whether there are other protection concerns. Sometimes it's not just about the maintenance. The child may be in that particular house and may be suffering from other things. We've been introduced to some kind of psychology when it comes to some of the behaviors that these children exhibit. Sometimes you may tend to say, oh, this child is being possessed, but when you go behind, you realize that it's a behavior that needs to be corrected. And once you understand the theory behind it, you'll be able to help this child. You look at the ISS that I've been talking about. Yes, we work with other collaborators, but we realize that sometimes the coordination is not all that taking. So you do it, just they say, oh, inform somebody. Then I've informed the police.
That's it. Then I do my thing. Because when you come, oh, I inform the police. We also talk about, for instance, the swims. We realize that there are certain times that we even have cases, there's success stories, and we don't report on it. But with this training, I know I was here and I called back my district that no, this thing needs to be documented in swims because it's a success story. It's something that we have to follow from our district to Southton all the way to Pantine. And this story have not been recorded. So we realize that the training is something that is very important and it has come to help a lot. Thank you.
Yes, he's exempted. Oh, I know him. Very eloquent student. Thank you very much. Okay, so and then there are other steps for the school to start its certificate course. It looked like the school halted because of issues of accreditation, and now we have even been affiliated with, oh, where is Dr. Jones? The University of Ghana to handle they've ceded off their diploma course to us. We have a few challenges, yes. It's in dollars, but we will get there with the support of our ministers. Yes, we should start that. So we are putting together certificate courses in social work and in caregiving, and then hopefully before the end of this year, we are hoping that we'll be able to finish the affiliation process to start the diploma in social work. Thank you. Data systems. We've talked about data systems, the need for data systems, and how data systems help us. And that is also one lesson that was learned, that once we get data, the more we can advocate for funds, we can advocate for clients. Next slide. It's the last slide. So fragmented way of working also doesn't help. It's important that we consolidate what we do. And even though we are working with some CSOs, the ministry itself is trying to consolidate its own, M&E system. Because we have quite a few. We have swims, we have data from child marriage, we have data from gender, we have data from even DOC. So the ministry itself is building on swims to have that bigger system, but it is being used to also collate information to NDPC, and it was also used, this data was also used for the CRC convention recently. So there is the big need to collaborate and get adequate data. In conclusion, there has been real progress, especially in introducing the integrated social services delivery system, expanding workforce training, improving coordination framework. But moving forward, most of these are foundational, not transformative. A lot of us need to even transform our own selves. Some of us still believe in corporal punishment. Some of us believe in institutionalization. There is the need for, having that transformed self as a worker, using social behavioral change theories to really understand what we are to do for child protection. And the system has moved from fragmented and informal to well-structured, but still it's weakly informed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yvonne. Thank you for that presentation. Unfortunately, I promised, but Gloria has made it difficult for me to fulfill my promise. So, like our politicians say, it's in the pipeline. So after lunch, we would have a session on that. Our children are hungry, and we need to get them some food. Honorable Regina has signaled me, so I have to obey. So please, we'll go for lunch quickly. It's downstairs. And then we'll come back, maybe start with an open session before we move into the next technical session. So thank you all very much. Please make sure that you have a coupon so you can have access to the to the restaurants. Thank you very much. We'll be back live in an hour. In an hour, yes. Thank you.